Amanda says, I was wondering about Adeline's therapy. What made you decide to do it, and how have you seen it help her? To me, she seems like a great walker for her age. She actually almost didn't walk till almost 18 months old. It's a warning sign for doctors on a developmental thing. If they don't walk by 18 months old, they start getting concerned. So we went and did testing, and her gross motor skills were just a hair behind. It was kind of borderline. I could make the decision or not if she needed therapy. She's so small. I didn't want her any further behind, like on the playground playing with kids, because she's already kind of intimidated due to her size. So we thought we'd go ahead and do therapy. We have an evaluation in a few weeks for where she's at, if she's made any progress based on her age. I don't know if I'm going to continue. We're at a point where the weather's getting better. We're spending a lot more time outside, and her confidence is better. So we can do work without having the therapist be involved, like on the playgrounds and hiking and walking and so forth. So I think we may not continue unless the evaluation shows we're not making any progress or we've fallen behind. Kitty62862, hi. How do you tell what percent of cat is deaf? I'm just saying how often he actually responds to me. He's also having problems with his sight. So like you put food down right in front of him and he's like this. He's losing both his hearing. So I'm just guessing if it's 80%, he doesn't hear me very much anymore. The Rogers neighborhood says, what training resources do you use? Dog training. I know you feed the cats raw. What does Reese eat raw as well? I will have to do some more on the dog training because it'll take a little bit too long. And when I do that, I will provide some links and some information. So remind me if I don't get to that in the next few vlogs. Does Reese eat raw as well? No. We had some problems converting her, so we never did. And my husband's like, no, I don't want her to eat raw. So she eats a very high-end dry food. And maybe I'll start seeing if I can get her half raw. That would be nice. Now that we're settled in the house, maybe I'll push the husband and see what I can get to. Etube, let's just say Etu, says, what does Robert do for work? And do any mountain lions ever wander in your area? My husband works for a group health insurance company. I used to work for them as well. He is in upper level management up there. Cubicle work, but it pays the bills, and he's done it for quite a long time. So, do any mountain lions ever wander in your area? We do have mountain lions in our area, but they're very reclusive. You're never going to probably see them. I'm hoping to catch one on the trail cam, but part of me doesn't want to catch one on the trail cam. They tend to be a little bit further west of us, but they do creep into our areas, especially if food sources are low. So they are in the area, but very low numbers and very reclusive. E. Goodwin 1 says, what is your favorite childhood memory? Did you always plan on being a mob? What's my favorite childhood memory? That's a tough question. The things that keep coming to mind, it's nothing one thing in particular, but they all seem to be involving nature. Like I remember going for a hike when I was younger, probably about 8 or 9, and I came around a corner when we were up in the mountains, just in the area I visited today, actually. And some bighorn sheep were like right face to face, and that was really cool. And one thing I used to remember, even as a young child, when we go camping, the stars at night, it was just incredible. You'd walk out of the tent to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, and it's even as a young kid, I remember just being so awestruck and just could stand there forever. We also had dogs growing up, and I was always the person who had the dog whisperer. They were always following me around. So I think all my childhood memories that I really remember the most all involve nature or our animals. Big surprise, huh? Did you always plan on being a mom? No. Probably didn't plan on being a mom until my mid-30s or so. I had so many health problems in my 20s, and I've dealt with so much depression issues. I really didn't feel like I could be fair to have a child. I didn't feel like I could give them enough focus and energy. By my late 30s, I got a lot of my health problems and a lot of my mental stuff at least manageable. And suddenly I was like, I think I could do it. And it took us 4.5 years to get pregnant with Addie. So I definitely worried about, especially my depression, being able to handle being a mom. I am so glad we ended up being able to get pregnant, because being a mom is just awesome. I really love being Adeline's mom, and I'm so glad I got to a place mentally and with my physical health that I could do that, and I hope I can maintain that. I really have to keep focusing, but hopefully I can maintain it and be a good mom for her for as long as I'm around. Devin K says, I would love to know the basic restrictions of your diet and how you concocted it. I've had stomach issues my entire life and now suffering from depression. I'm sorry. I feel for you. Trust me. I find that when I eat more natural foods and stuff that I make from scratch, my stomach not only feels better, but I feel emotionally better too. I feel you there too. I would love to try a few new things in my diet, so your advice would be greatly appreciated. Oh, and by the way, I love your vlogs. I never fail to put a smile on my face. Thank you, Devin K. I don't want to go really detailed. We can talk about more diet stuff down the road, but trial and error is how I got to my current diet after about 15 years. Now there's a lot more stuff out there that kind of does the exact same thing. The paleo diet is definitely very similar to what I eat. I do have some other restrictions that make me have to modify that. FODMAPs, FODMAPS, it's a diet meant for IBS. Most of the restrictions on there have lined up with what I need to do. Certain fibers that I have to avoid, certain types of vegetables, things like that. One thing I have found that's really hard is the long-term thing. I can do the diet really well for like, say, 6 months, and then things creep back in. My goal the last few years has been to find sort of that happy balance. We're trying to find a happy place where I'm not stressed by my dietary restrictions, but I still feel good, or reasonably good. It's constantly doing this, and I'm learning to kind of go with the ups and downs and not stress about it and beat myself up when I'm not being as successful as I want to be. It's always a work in progress, and I'm learning that I'm never going to find the exact perfect thing. Even if I found the perfect diet, sticking to it is always difficult. So my best advice, relax a little bit, know that you're never going to be perfect, and try and find that balance where you can feel happy on both sides of the fence. So we'll talk about more of that later. But again, FODMAPs, FODMAPS, and the paleo diet, I do kind of a combination of them with a little bit of cheats mixed in that make me happy as a person. GeneXS01 said, what made you finally decide to get Max, and will you get another Bengal if Dexter passes away? I got Max because Mia really, really needed a buddy. She was definitely stressing not having Bayou around, and now that Max is here, I know we made the right decision. Will I get another Bengal if Dexter passes away? Probably not. I really would like to be down to 2 cats. I think I can give them the most attention at 2. I think that's a good balance for us between having the kid and everything else. I do feel that down the road when Mia gets older, maybe I'll end up having to get a buddy for Max. We'll see where we're at, but I think 2 is a really good number for me and the cats. Elaine Lowry asks, were you born and raised in Colorado? Yes, I am from Colorado Springs, right where I'm at the moment. I started watching you from Arizona when my neighbor lost her Bengal Phoebe in our desert area. We warned her not to let the cat out, so I saw your Bengals and joined the viewing club. Lots of fun. Of course, Addie makes it even more fun. Well, thank you. I definitely worry about the cats outside. They enjoy it so much. I'm trying to find a balance where they can go spend some time out, but it's safe. I'm sorry your friend lost her kitty, though. That sucks. Anna Pryor says, what did you do for work before? I worked for the insurance company that my husband works for now. I did it for, 12 years. I don't know, cubicle life. And then before that, I actually worked in veterinary clinics for about 10 years. Mostly as a vet assistant receptionist. Do you want another baby? I'm kind of on the fence. Would I like Addie to have another sibling? Yes. But at 41 and with my health problems and how worn out I'm feeling right now, I worry that my body can't handle another one. We're not really actively trying, but we're actually also not actively preventing. I guess I'll put it that way. But since it took 4.5 years to get pregnant with Addie, I'm not overly optimistic on that one. How does your husband feel about all the kitties? He doesn't mind them. He loves them. He really does love them. He's not a cat person. He's a dog person. So he gets a little upset about my cat trees and me wanting to put shelves on the wall and things like that. But he puts up with us. How did you pick Addie's name? I did not pick Addie's name until she was 2 days old, maybe 3 days old. And literally I was going through name books. We had a list of some names and they just weren't working for us. So I started opening the books up and I stumbled on Adeline, went in and said it, and it worked. How is your fibro doing lately? It's up and down. It was really bad when we were stressing about the house and stuff, and so things are kind of improving. My fibro's doing pretty good. I'm not at my tip top. I need more outdoor time and more exercise right now, which due to the fact that it's winter, but we're enjoying some sun today. Has Addie had any lasting problems from being a preemie? She's still having some reflux problems, which I think might be adding to why she's a little picky around certain foods. She's still been spitting up off and on. And the reflux tends to be a preemie thing. Hopefully she outgrows that soon. The other thing would be the gross motor skills that we talked about earlier. She's still a little behind there. hopefully she catches up soon. She's 2 now, and that kind of tends to be where they say the turning point is, where most things have been caught up. Other than that, I don't think she's having any problems. She's a little itty bitty, but so am I, so who knows. Okay, stick with me, guys. We're almost done. Michelle Teller asks, do you and Robert plan to have on more children? Previous question, probably not, but if something happens, we would not be upset. Are you going to bring your cooking vlogs back? I really miss those. I'm going to try. I've definitely been planning some stuff. I just haven't gotten it in the queue, but we'll work on it. Do you have any favorite recipes or things that you would like me to cook with? Do you want me to cook with more game meat? Do you want me to cook something in particular? Let me know. Do those deer get too close to your house? They go under the porch. When the house was being built, they would go in the basement under the house. So yeah, they get close and they poop everywhere, and Reese wants to eat it. So, oh well. We live in the forest. What can I say? So yes, the deer get too close to our house, but they're not dangerous or anything. I'm not really worried about that. Vanna 1970 says, hi, wondering what wildlife you have in the mountains. We're just outside of the mountains. We have, of course, the deer. We have foxes. We have bobcats. We have moose, but they're fairly rare in our area. We have elk. They don't come up to where our house is because it's more in the dense trees, but literally half-mile away, they see them all the time. We do have mountain lions, but they're very rare, and we do have bears. So come spring, expect some videos of bears if I can catch them. Of course, squirrels and lots of birds. Turkeys, we also have turkeys. So we have quite the plethora of animals, which is why we moved out to the country. Let Reese out when the deer are out, for example? Yes, she knows that she's not supposed to chase them, so she goes potty and stares at them and then comes back. Would you let Addie play outside alone, or is it just squirrels and deer? I don't know. We'll see what happens. Right now, no, I wouldn't let her because she's not very steady on her feet. Maybe when she's 5 or 6 or 7, I don't know. There are bears, and that is one thing that does concern me. Most of the bears are just going to run. It's not going to be a big deal. It's going to be that rare occasion where a bear has a baby cub, and there's some sort of dangerous situation around that. So I'd be very cautious until she's a lot older before I would ever let her play outside by herself. Janice Balla asks, how did you and your husband meet? Did Mia ever play with Reese like Max does? Robert and I met in Louisiana when I was in college. I went down there with my stepmom, and he was at a pool party that I was at. So I met Robert in Louisiana when I was living in Maryland. And then we ended up back in Colorado. Go figure. That was when I was 18, and now I'm 41. So Mia did not play with Reese like Max does. Mia was an adult, and Reese was a wild child puppy. So they couldn't figure out how to make it work. Louise Stokes says, would you ever consider fostering animals again? Probably not. It's really hard on you emotionally and hard on my house. I always feel responsible when there's problems when they go to new homes. I definitely could see myself doing some more volunteer work, but I don't think I'd bring them into my home at this time. Have you ever formed a friendship with a follower of your vlogs? I do have some good friends that I chat with, and there's one gal that I've met personally that was, I think she followed my website previously, my pet website, and I met her when I was in town one time. So there are a couple out there. Will you be sending Addie to preschool or pre-K? Not at this time. We are actually looking into homeschooling. I might do it for a little while if I can do right by her. I'm in a homeschooling co-op, and we're going to start working out the kinks behind that and doing some curriculum and so forth. So we'll see what happens. But right now, I plan on at least homeschooling her, maybe during the first couple of years of school. Also have to add that it was amazing to watch Addie problem solve at the end of the video, and once she got the hang of cutting, she kept going and the pieces got smaller and smaller. You must be so proud of her. She's so much fun to watch. So, yes, I agree. And she loves cutting things. That's our new hobby. All right, guys, I think that wraps it up. We'll be doing some future videos on some cooking stuff, editing videos, and how-to, raw feeding, and a little bit more information on that for the cats, why I picked a purebred animal, and a house tour and discussions around that. So stay tuned over the next week or two. We'll get those out there. And here's my grandpa, eating a cookie.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys, for tuning in. I will see you in the next vlog.